welcome back to the Scions of the Southland podcast presented by From the Rumble Seat. Today, we journeyed to the Bill Moore Student Success Center skyboxes to record our humble podcast. We have a nice view of Bobby Dodd Stadium in Grant Field.
Yeah, it's a little bit less wet than the Wardlaw deck, which is where we tried to go, but we've got a nice microphone, which also picks up this great fan, so sorry about that in advance.
So if you hear the fan in the background, sorry, we're working on it. We need to find somewhere a little quieter to record our audio, but, we got a nice space to use this fancy new microphone, so we are going to roll with it.
2:05 on a Wednesday. It's a little bit different than we usually do, eh?
Yeah, different from our usual Monday 9 p.m. recording slot.
Yeah, a little lighter outside today.
I feel
with the clouds outside. I don't know.
Hey, it's gorgeous. This is springtime in Chicago to me.
Oh, boo.
Shut up.
All right, well, as always, joining me, Akshay Schwarn, here on the flats, are Jake Grant, Ethan Kreger, and Cade Lawson. How is everyone doing on this beautifully gloomy Wednesday?
I'll speak for Ethan, too, and say it's nice to be back. It seems like it's been a month since we've been on the podcast, but that's what happens when you record every 2 weeks.
You were suspended last time for an egregious no-call versus New Orleans Saints.
Oof.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, I forgot y'all were here. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we had to talk non-rep by ourselves.
How did you do that?
Oh, I did a great job.
I said he didn't really say much.
No, we did a first take, and I did such a bad job that we just stopped after like 10 minutes of me trying, or like, never mind.
See, that was a much more fun round of news, too. You had the upset of, no, not NC State, of Syracuse.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been a while. But yeah, no, since then, I guess tennis has been disappointing. We haven't won a lot for women's basketball, so bring on softball and men's golf. I need some fun things to talk about.
Men's basketball has been a thing.
Yeah, well,
it's been a basketball.
They played three
basketball
top 25 teams last week and a half. It's tough to judge them on that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, true.
Cool. But as always, or now that we have our usual non-rev crew back, it is time for the fastest 5 minutes on the flats. All right, let's get this timer set up here. Mr. Grant, Mr. Kreger, are you ready?
Sure.
Ready?
Ready.
Set. Go.
Right off the bat, this is not going to take 5 minutes. We're not going to
We're giving
spend.
5 minutes.
We're not going to spend much on men's and women's tennis. I think it's in a sentence. Women's tennis is not what they were last year. Can you?
Yeah, it's been a big drop off for a team that returned half of its starting lineup. Definitely not what was predicted, bringing in three highly touted freshmen, two of whom who were in the top 100 in the ITA freshman rankings. So they've definitely been a disappointment so far.
Men haven't been too much better. They did okay the first time out against UGA.
They hung with Georgia real good this weekend. The 4-0 score does not at all reflect how that match went, and if they had finished the match out, I think it would have been 5-2. And of the three singles matches that UGA won to win the match, all three were three-setters. So 4-0 does not do that justice at all.
I'd say we have a young team. Is that an accurate characterization?
Yeah. I think we only start one senior, so the fact that they played Georgia close this weekend is very.
Who's that senior?
very good.
Devar?
Philip Gresk.
Yeah. Is Devar a junior?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then as for the rest of non-rev, women's basketball, they had that great upset of Syracuse, but they haven't been too great since, I'd argue. They lost a real heartbreaker on the road to North Carolina, 91-90.
That game was rough, especially the ending.
Yeah, no. Elizabeth Balogun continues her great year. I'm really excited for having 3 more years of her. Her plus Dixon plus Pond. Honestly, this team hardly loses anything into next year. So they're playing these teams close this year. I'm excited for them to still hang around this bubble. I'd say they're firmly on the bubble. They need to win pretty well down the stretch, but they have already played Notre Dame once, Louisville, a lot of the big names on the schedule.
They played NB twice.
Yes, so they play Notre Dame coming up on Sunday, which.
No, they played Notre Dame last weekend.
Oh, you're right. Oh, that is last weekend. Okay, so from here out, we should have a pretty decent slate to pick up some wins here in conference.
And it is notable to mention that they have played mostly the ACC is pretty competitive.
It's a meat grinder.
Basketball, and they played like number 1, number 7.
They've already
number
got-
4, number 8,
Louisville
like-
had their starters in until 45 seconds. Left in the game.
They don't have any games left against
4
Notre
weeks
Dame,
ago.
Louisville, Syracuse, or NC State, so that's the very good upside of the schedule.
Yeah,
the rest
so
of the
we'll get Miami, we'll get Pitt, we'll get teams
Meh.
like that. So we'll see what they have to do. We got 2 minutes left. No one else has really been in action yet except swimming. Swimming swept Denver. That was looking like a really key top 25 matchup coming into the year, but I guess Denver lost a lot. I don't know as much about Summit League swimming as I do about everyone else. But Denver's not quite what they were. It's not too excellent of a team if the women are demolishing them because they are not the greatest themselves. I parse my words there out of respect to them. But the men are pretty good, and that was a solid win for them. They swam pretty well. Tanner Hayes, breakout. We all know Kyle Pamputis is quite good. So keeping that up coming into the end of the year is key. They go to Auburn this weekend for an invite after going there and getting beat coming off training trip and winter training. So this might be a good reassessment of how they stack up without having a UGA meet this year, which kind of sucks. Let's see. Anything else from the world of non-rev?
I don't have anything else.
Upcoming, what I got on my calendar.
We could use this last minute to preview softball.
True, but other than that, if you want to talk about softball real quickly in 1 second, track has a split squad. They're going to Iowa
3
State.
meets, right?
Yeah, they're going to Iowa State, Nashville, and Clemson. Women's tennis is in Washington for the ITA.
Nope.
What am I looking at?
They did not qualify for ITAs
Well, that
because they
stinks.
lost to Ohio State.
And then golf
That's
is in Hawaii for their opening.
Yes.
tournament.
Looking
Softball?
forward to golf, kicking that off there at the number 2 ranking. So that's excellent.
Right.
And then they've been on the edge for decades now under Hepler. They've brought literally everyone who's anyone back. They should be great. Softball signed
We
a
got
great
20
class. Signed a couple amazing transfers. Former SEC Freshman of the Year, former ASUN Player of the Year, and then a well-regarded pitcher out of North Georgia. So hopefully we can find the pitching to replace Emily Anderson. And then they should pick up where they left off last year in what was a rebuilding year.
All right. Well, that's time.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
everything going on in non-rev,
Yep.
more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see one more time. Let me check the calendar.
If
that's
I'm
missed.
If I'm gonna make a note here really quick, I am very much excited to see what Todd Stansbury's OG hire on the flats, Eileen Morales, can pull off in year 2, because she took not much and turned it into something that was at least going back to the postseason for the first time in a while. So even though that's just the ACC tournament,
Right. So
not everybody makes the tournament.
I
so
know, I've never understood that about softball and baseball, but at any rate.
Just to talk about the schedule for other non-rev sports, I guess softball is the only one I left off in the schedule recap. Softball is at the River City Leadoff in Jacksonville.
Yep.
They'll play Providence, UMass Lowell, and then Jacksonville.
We got to start
over
off the
next
season
week.
4-0. Those are winnable games for Georgia Tech. You might drop one because it's softball, but I don't know. But it's why you never should really predict Tech baseball sweeping all them in-state midweek opponents. But like, really, if we're talking expectations, those are winnable games for Georgia Tech. And if you want to be a good team, you got to beat the teams on your schedule.
And then other stuff. Women's basketball plays Pitt. I guess
Thursday.
tomorrow. It's Thursday now, but I guess today when this goes out.
Yep.
On Thursday morning, and then men's tennis will play Kennesaw State on Friday, and then Georgia State on Sunday.
Yep.
And that should round out the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Should be a good weekend to see where a couple of these teams are at. I'd really like to see the men 4-0, both of these teams.
Yeah, they
I
might
don't
play
think
all
either
the.
are
They
pretty
might
good.
play to finish since it's inside and the women are out of town, but
That's true.
hopefully 7-0s.
Yeah, let's things you like to see. That.
Yep.
What you got next, Akshay?
National Signing Days today. Well, the February
Yeah.
one. So
All the listeners out there, what do you think of the two? What do you think of the 2 signing days? I know I said that it takes a little out of the off-season lull, but
So it's weird. I think having experienced knowing that there used to just be the February signing day, and now having both of them, having seen it from both sides, it's like strange because all of the air that used to be all like excitement around the February one is now all on the December one, and then the February one kind of slips under the radar. I feel like.
Cade, you look like you got thoughts.
I mean, I kind of forgot it was happening this week until.
See, that's
recently.
exactly what I'm saying.
So, it's like a Christmas present, but you forget Christmas is there. I mean, it's like, I had no expectations, and we got stuff.
Who did we get, Cade?
Are we there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jamius Griffin and Michael Lockhart. You know them,
And
Akshay?
Marquez Izard.
Oh yeah, Marcos Izard, who's the transfer
Did he
from
announce
From Miami.
Yes.
He signed today.
Oh, he signed
He announced
today.
before
Yeah,
the
he
sign
announced
today.
a week ago.
Well, he announced his commitment, and then he officially signed the NLI.
You
or
can't sign
whatever.
until today, anyways.
Yeah.
But what did the stickers on the hats? Who mentioned that?
One of
Peter
it was
Andrew
Carter. It was
Carter.
Carter. Carter, one of the other writers on our staff, watching Lockhart's announcement, had noticed that the sticker, like the 47 sticker that's on all of these hats, wasn't on the Georgia Tech hat on Lockhart's table, and so it seemed predestined.
Scandals.
Hey man,
Playing with fire.
if he wants to return the hats for the schools he's not going to go to, smart man.
I've always wondered about that, actually. Some of them buy a lot of hats. They're
Yeah.
expensive.
There was a
They
guy.
were like $20 each.
There was a guy my year at my high school who had offers from everywhere and liked having offers from everywhere, and he had a signing ceremony at one of our like sports bars downtown, and he had like 20 hats on the table.
20 hats on the
Yeah, it was
table.
ridiculous.
That's a big ego right there. Oh man.
Yes.
All right, so Jamius Griffin, 4-star running back out of Rome, Georgia. He's the Gatorade Georgia Player of the Year. What do you got to say about him?
Wasn't
Mr.
Brad
Lawson?
Stewart also Gatorade Player of the Year or something like that?
From Griffin's highlights and from Griffin's statistics. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean,
No,
I have
some,
no idea.
or maybe it was AJ Gray or something like that. Some under the radar. I feel like Griffin is a little more high profile than whoever the last Gatorade Player of the Year
Well, it's the
we got was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe those are named by classification.
No, it's only one.
No. Okay. Well, that shows how much I know about my state's high school football programs. So.
Yeah.
Illinois track guy from my high school won 1 year, so I don't even think it has to be a football player. But
It's one for each sport, I think.
oh, that's so much less exciting. They gave us a bunch of free Gatorade and everything, so naturally.
Well, Gatorade is a Pepsi product, and we don't talk about that in this state. Mr. Krager, you had some thoughts on Mr. Griffin.
Yeah, Griffin in high school started at running back for his varsity team all 4 years. He had somewhere around 800 carries throughout his career and had 104 touchdowns. So that means he took it to the house about once every 8 times he touched the ball.
Woo!
His
And-
line looked pretty good in the film, though. So.
Yeah, they did look pretty good at rooting people off their spot, but he runs with a low center of gravity, has a lot of power, and at 5'9", 210 pounds, he has the size to absorb hits and keep going, and also the speed to outrun defenders at
It's
the
all in
second
the
level.
hips. I'm telling you, it's all in the hips. His hips don't lie.
Yeah.
Akshay, no. Please stop.
I was waiting for a position where to slot that joke in.
All right, I found it. 2014-15 Georgia Gatorade State Football Player of the Year, AJ Gray. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Mr. Lawson, anything to add?
I wish we still had AJ Gray. Are we talking about AJ Gray?
We can talk about AJ Gray and Jamius Griffin.
I think he's working in the office based on the
I mean,
the
he's
roster
our
stuff.
named Adidas model
That's cool.
for
Is he
football.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because he modeled all the Adidas gear for this football season.
Got to keep
Yeah.
him in uniform, right?
Always learning.
If Griffin ends up like the last Gatorade State High School Player of the Year in Georgia, we will be very, very lucky because that was Trevor Lawrence, and he now has an undefeated season and a national championship. So
He
that
won it
award
2
is a
years
hell
in
of an
row
award.
there, too.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. The guy before him, 2015-2016, his name is Jake Fromm.
He's ended up okay in college too.
And then
Jake Fromm was all right.
guy
Hey,
before
man,
a lot of
AJ
wins,
Gray, you got Deshaun Watson, who had a decent enough
Hell of a
career
career
up
at
at
Clemson.
Clemson. Yeah.
Do they not give it to running backs very often?
I don't know.
I I don't know.
Deshaun Watson's big.
Most of them have been quarterbacks. Wow, Eric Berry, that's a name.
Hudson
That's-
Mason's on here too.
Smart. If you ever want to kill some brain cells, go listen to anything that guy says. What an idiot. Oh, God.
Hey, he got a fine degree up there.
No, not
You
even
got a
because
fine
of
piece
that.
of toilet paper.
No, not even because of that one. I'm not even here to make fun of UGA as a school. I'm here to make fun of him.
Whew. Hudson Mason is a character. He's a radio character.
Yeah.
Harsh
Oh my
words.
God. Who put him where people could hear him?
Wait,
Well,
he has a
apparently-
show?
He's on the Sports X in town
Oh.
with Joe Hamilton.
They put them on the same show?
I think so, actually.
This just goes to show how much I listen to sports radio, so,
Atlanta sports radio is traditionally awful.
isn't it just all Falcons and not
Georgia.
much else?
I mean, it's all Falcons in Georgia. That's about it.
But Athens isn't in Atlanta.
Well, they do whatever makes them money.
I'm gonna go see if I can see the skyline from Bobby Dodd Stadium. Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
What?
Did you think that like North Ave apartments had grown since last year, and they were now just gonna like block all that?
I'm using it to rhetorically prove a point, just like Collins is with this spring game.
Oh, boo! That's my segue. All right, if you want to talk about it, go for it.
I'm a big fan of the spring game, and I'm a bigger fan of him playing it during the golden hour. I don't know if that's his explicit reason, but it sounds very Georgia Tech to me. April 26th, the news came out, is the Georgia Tech spring game. It's a Friday. I don't know much else
It's
to
like
add.
the week. I think it's the Friday before finals week.
Yeah, students should still be around. Not that we usually get
Yeah, not that anyone will be here.
ridiculous
unfortunately.
attendance, but
I mean, attendance is like pretty okay usually. I mean, it's not 55,000, but it's for a spring game on a Friday night. I mean, even last year was pretty okay.
I am skeptical at best of that answer.
Okay is a strong word.
I mean, okay in terms of like spring game attendance.
It
And you
looks
also
like-
just said it's okay for a Friday night during spring. Like, you would expect someone to use that as an excuse for low attendance if they were like, it's okay for like a Tuesday in January.
I was about to say, it looks like
like, you just
the
described-
Rusty Sea on a rainy Tuesday in February is
you
what
just-
it looks like.
You just described
Oh.
ideal weather and time conditions. And said, like, that's why no one's there.
Give me a break. I'm trying to be positive.
Sorry.
It was a few years ago and it was raining so hard. Do any of y'all remember this? That they counted they pretended to count the fans in the stands and then everyone was tweeting about it.
It might have been,
That's
it might have
pretty
been early
funny.
on in my
It was like
in my college career.
I think it was 213 or some number. It was like in the 200s.
Hey, I bet you a good number of them listen to this fine podcast. Those are true fans right there.
Yeah, I air quoted count. I forgot no one could see that. But I air quoted that because they didn't actually count. They're just trolling and not very smart people.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
But hopefully more people show up. Seems like interest is up based on tickets sold lately too.
So what was the last number that we heard? I want to say it was 91% up from the first week last year.
Something like that.
Something like that. It might have been 80
It's a
something,
very,
but it was high.
very dramatic improvement.
If they're doing net, that does include a 7th home game, but that's not a 91% increase.
Well, it's the 7th home game plus tickets are the cheapest they've been since 2015.
Affordability is good. I guess they're trying to make up in volume what they get on that price, which is economics. Good for them.
Oh, both of you economics.
Hey, he's
one
not-
economics major
3.
and 2 economics minors in the room.
Disgusting.
Actually, it's just a computer boy. It's fine.
I'll let you do my taxes one day electronically.
Do them yourself.
Not what it's-
Code my taxes.
That's not what a
computer
CS
boy.
major does. That's what the accountant does.
I'll let you both do my taxes.
What,
Yeah,
you'll do
no.
them on paper and I'll do them electronically?
Yeah,
Is
cross-check.
that what they're-
Cross-check them.
Uh,
What else do we have to talk about, Mr. Grant?
I clicked away to go read my own article.
Wow, how humble.
Hey, I gotta know what I have to say about stuff. So we talked about spring game. We talked about National Signing Day. Anything else about football? It's pretty exciting. I don't know if you guys talked about the winter is coming thing last week, but I think that
I don't
is.
think we did.
I think that's very Georgia Tech, and I think it's buzz, and positive buzz in the middle of February is very good for this program.
Also, I hate you for unintentionally making a buzz pun about Georgia Tech there.
What is winter is coming for those who do not know?
Yes, the winter is coming off-season conditioning program. is a off-season conditioning program designed to be done in the winter.
What is it a reference to, though?
Wow, that was an amazing response from Akshay Ishwara. He's very bright.
I tried.
I was getting to it. It's the off-season conditioning program run by Coach Collins and his staff. The goals are twofold.
He said that like 5 times now.
Twofold. One, it helps Collins and the staff get to know the players. They've been split up into 8 to 10 teams.
These are not the important answers that people are seeking. They just want to
I'm
know
getting
what
to it.
winter is coming means, Akshay.
I'm getting to it. The name is a reference to Game of Thrones.
There we
There
go.
we go.
You made it. Wow.
I wanted to give them a full explanation.
They know what an off-season conditioning program is.
They've been split into 8 to 10 teams. They get points for various things, including workouts, but also like going to other sporting events, doing
They have been
community
doing
service. So it's pretty holistic.
It's
in
been
terms
good
of
to
a
see
off-season
football
conditioning
players
program.
at swimming and tennis and women's basketball and stuff
Yeah, I
like
like
that.
that too.
Yeah.
Also, R.I.P. the Bud Night Light, as you were talking
Oh,
about.
I remember that.
Oh,
Gone but not
The
forgotten.
mountain beheads the Bud Knight. Sad.
Sad times.
that's sad. They scraped him off the building too, I think.
Yeah, he's gone now.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no.
He was protecting over us. Down
He watched
Techwood
over
Drive.
us as a
It's
noble
like in-
knight.
It's like in Dark Knight when Batman goes away and there's no more defender of Gotham. There's no more Bud Light night on whatever that building was.
Not the Equitable building,
Georgia
but the one
Pacific?
next to it. I
Georgia
think.
Pacific?
I don't know. I
That's
couldn't
sad.
tell you the names of
It's
most of them
square.
down there.
It's rectangular. Or something.
It's got that V shape on it, right? I think. I don't know. It's big and shiny.
Yes.
Wow.
Breaking news.
But like, I wouldn't call
Breaking
the
news:
pencil
the
building
glass buildings are big and
shiny.
shiny. More at 11. All right.
Any
Well, we can
sass.
kind of go from our sassy football stuff to basketball. Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about basketball? Does Ethan want to talk about basketball?
Yeah, Ethan has some thoughts about basketball.
Do you want to give us a very high-level overview of the last 2 weeks of basketball? at Georgia
Very,
Tech?
very high level. Well, we played 3 top 25 teams. You can only judge so much. Florida State, UNC, and Duke are each very, very good. And even though Florida State's conference record doesn't necessarily reflect that, I think they are still a threat to win this league, win the conference tournament, make some noise in March. So to go on the road and hang with them, and then go to Cameron and lead Duke at halftime and hang with them for all 40 is very encouraging. And the old adage that defense travels has really been the case for that team the past couple weeks. Obviously, they haven't been able to score, and the offense hasn't been there. But it's been good to see them get after it on the defensive end. But then on the other side at home the last few weeks against Louisville and against UNC, they've come out flat, and I don't just mean flat for a couple minutes, get down 10-0 and call it timeout. I mean, Louisville, we were down 36-7, which is absolutely unacceptable in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And then UNC, we hung with them for the first half and then came out of halftime, gave up like a 18-2, 20-2
Yeah.
run or something.
25-6.
25-6 run, and you just that can't happen against these kinds of teams. I mean, you can't give them 5 minutes where you don't come out there and give it everything you've got, get after it on the defensive end. You give up 25 points in 5-6 minutes. It's real hard to win in this league, and I think it's a little bit of maturity and a little bit of just the fact that we have a small rotation, but it's
And that small rotation kills us because against Louisville, they're working with Alvarado, Alston, and Gay
Gay
out.
were out.
And those are our 2 leading scorers, and Gay, who's become a big part of our offense. And credit to Reveno, works with the big men, right?
Mhm.
So Reveno, since I got to campus, AD Gay's sophomore year, when I got here, he was a bit player, didn't do much, was just long, lanky, kind of awkward. Now he plays with a lot more confidence, and I think he's been an important member of the team this year. So those 3 contributors out is a big loss, but it's not really an acceptable thing to say when you've still got former 4-star Michael DeVoe out there, when you've got Khalid Moore, when you've got James Banks.
Shambari Phillips.
Where the heck has Shambari Phillips been this year, guys? Like that, he was supposed to be talented, transfer, and help lead this team with a little more veteran presence with experience in Power 5 play.
Especially if you look at the Tennessee team right now that he just came off of and how they've grown over the last couple of years because of Rick Barnes.
Yeah,
That was a great
it's
hire for them, by
disappointing
the way.
to see a player who put up 8 points a game 2 years ago as a sophomore come in here and really not see the floor very often, and when he gets in, be inconsistent on offense and on defense, getting blown by, missing open threes, etc., etc. So I don't really know what the issue is there, but it needs to be figured out quickly because he is a big contributor to this team.
Yeah, I mean, even versus Duke, I feel like in that Duke game we were plenty competitive in the first half, and then Gay and Banks pick up 3 fouls. And I think Banks sat most of that, ended up sitting most of that first half.
FSU, too, they picked up fast fouls. Alvarado fouled out with, 8 minutes left?
Alvarado not only fouled out, he didn't have a point, he didn't have a made shot, he was unable to contribute, and I don't know if that was a factor of him just being off for the night, or FSU playing really good defense.
Yeah, and
I mean, that game was close at the end. We missed, six in a row, but
We missed a lot of shots.
Alvarado's
in the last 3 minutes.
the heart of this team, and if he's putting up nothing, then I don't think we have much of a shot in any game.
Well, I think what you can kind of... The thought that's been going through my mind is that this team defensively can hang with anyone. They've proven that. They've hung with the number 2 Duke team. They've hung with a top 10 UNC team. A top 10 FSU team. But the problem is when it counts...
Virginia Tech.
And Virginia Tech. But when it counts, it's either mental mistakes or it's just not being able to put the ball through the orange hoop.
yeah.
That's the bottom line. The offensive, I guess, cleanliness, the technique, I guess, is just... I wouldn't say it's not there, but it's wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
The problem on defense is the scheme that we run, the 1-3-1 matchup zone, is very good for defending the perimeter and defending the foul line area that gives a lot of zones problems. Where it struggles is once the ball gets passed inside, sometimes the jobs of each player who have been on the perimeter get muddied, and you end up with just the one big man who's alone by himself on the backside guarding 1-on-1 in the post or even 2-on-1 in the post. And even if you play with your arms up in the air, pass like a post-to-post pass or a low-to-low post pass, you come over and try and help and you're going to commit fouls. So that's why AD Gay and James Banks have been struggling with foul trouble. I think it's more a function of the defense. But then on offense, I think a little bit of the problem is just a lack of creativity. And the rest of the problem is the fact that the shooters have been nowhere to be seen during ACC play. And so you get teams who just decide to either pack it in like a Duke or a Syracuse with a 2-3 zone against us and basically allow nothing inside and off the dribble. Or you get teams like UVA, even though we haven't played UVA yet, or teams that are going to play some variation of the pack line where every defender's got his foot in the paint and is going to help at the first sign of a drive. So the number one priority has to be recruiting guys who can knock down shots because the guys we have just haven't been able to do it during ACC play.
And I thought Haywood's biggest problem last year, as far as his inconsistency, was because he spent a lot of the year injured. But this year he's seemingly healthy and hasn't been able to knock anything down.
It's been a confidence issue for Haywood. It's one, he's been inconsistent, and two, there are just there's one night he's on it, he's on fire, he hits anything from anywhere, and then the next night, I think we saw this specifically versus, I want to say it was UNC, he could not hit anything.
FSU was also bad watching.
Yeah, so I want to say it's a confidence issue. I think if he makes that if he makes that first shot in the night, then he's usually okay. It takes that first big, kind of NBA range 3, that sort of risk-taking kind of thing. Once he makes that shot, then he's on it the rest of the night. But if he can't get that shot to fall early on in the first half, then it's just not going to be a good night.
But see, and Ethan made I don't think this was last time we were on, but he said it in passing too. Passner has such a quick hook when you make a mistake. You are out, and then you sit on the bench, and you're thinking, you're in your own head. And I think psychologically is a big part of the game of basketball, and it's a big part of a game like baseball. If you are in your own head, you're not going to connect with the ball. If you're in your own head, you're not going to make that shot. You're going to be a quarter of a degree off. You're going to be half a second late. Whatever it is, arbitrary small number, that messes with your form, and it messes with your ability to generate positively and contribute to your team, whether that's hitting a shot or even stuff like making that pass, even though you've got more of a, I'd say, margin for error when you're doing something like that.
Yeah, Jake completely hit on that. exactly the opinion that I've been having recently, and I think it's something that Pastner's going to have to fix here at some point soon.
All right, so Tech plays Clemson tonight. So this is Wednesday night when we're recording this. What do y'all think? Clemson, I want to say, is same 3-6 in ACC play.
They're 13-8 overall.
13-8 overall. I mean, this team is very inconsistent. I think we've kind of just really beaten that horse into glue at this point today. But I want to say Tech will edge this one out at home.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I don't know what the spread is. I'm not a
I
betting
would-
man. Cade is our usual betting man.
We lost a
would-
heartbreaker to them
I
at
don't
home
have that
last year,
memorized.
and I think the year before that.
I'll look it up. I'm going to guess Clemson by 1.5.
Yeah, that seems fair to me. I think Clemson has also had similar sort of inconsistency
Clemson by
problems.
3.5.
So they're not only.
I'll go out on a limb and say if we let Marquise Reed score 30 points again, we're probably going to lose. That's
Oof.
my official estimate.
Big oof.
Yeah, I don't like us tonight. We've struggled against this team the last few years. We haven't been able to close games out against them.
We were
Pastner's
leading late last year.
Right,
both
Pastner's
games.
gotten out-coached by Brad Brownell at the end of games against this team, and they have a guy in Marquise Reed who you can trust with the ball in his hands in the last 2 minutes of a game to go get you a bucket and to knock down free throws, and we don't have somebody like that on this team yet. I think that's going to be the difference in this game.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see nearly the of course, we see the student turnout that we do against UNC once every year, and that's when either UNC or Duke comes to town.
Yeah.
We usually pack the place for something like Notre Dame or your weekend Saturday games, especially those
The ranked team.
Yeah,
whoever's
you know,
ranked that
if
year.
there's a little buzz going for it, but this Clemson game has none of that pizzazz that I think is going to get our students out there, and I don't think are notably wishy-washy on attending games, alumni and sidewalk fans, attending sporting events. I don't think they have a proven history of like coming out on a Wednesday night to support Georgia Tech basketball, and arguably this is the kind of game that home field, whatever advantage swings. You know, like if you can get the people around into it, then you're in their head in a game that Tech, I think, has a shot to win tonight. I don't think it's necessarily a gimme at all, but I don't know. Like I think losing that one of the most important parts of our home success the past couple of years is that we can capitalize on that, and if you don't have that, then there's not much going.
I forget what the injury report was on Alvarado. Is that anyone?
He's playing tonight.
Yeah.
So I think even with that, it should be close if he's relatively healthy. Clemson
I
by
think we could
3.5 is probably pretty fair.
Yeah.
Tech by 2, maybe.
I don't trust us to win close
I think
games,
Clemson's
though.
going to cover
That's also
tonight. We'll
true.
see.
Yeah.
All right.
If we win, we got to win by at least 6 or 8 because Brownell, Reed, late in the game, like Ethan said,
That's why they were 4th seed in the tournament last year. They closed out close games at home and on the road during ACC play.
True. All right. And then Tech goes. They go to Notre Dame. This
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah.
Two
Yeah,
Notre
they
Dame.
go to Purcell Pavilion in South Bend. So give me a quick opinion on that game.
Notre Dame's a team that's tough to predict because they shoot a lot of threes and give an effort level on defense that goes up and down depending on how they're feeling. But John Mooney inside is better than any big guy we have on the inside. And I think that they're usually substantial student section for a weekend game combined with their play from the backcourt and inside. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game.
Yeah. If there's a game on the road to win this year, this would have been it, but I don't think this team...
We still have Miami on the road.
Oh, we
can
Miami
beat
on the
them.
road? Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty close to the top of the list.
Yeah.
But I think Ethan nailed the student section thing. A lot of people count out a home court advantage, but Notre Dame's violently passionate fans will show up.
Yeah, there's no easier
Regardless
way
of
to
game.
lose money betting on sports than picking road teams that are close favorites in college basketball games.
Yeah.
Cade knows that all too well.
You act like Cade's some sort of degenerate, but I mean, he only bets on random things.
He only bets on presidential elections. I'm sorry.
And
Children.
toddler races.
Child race, yeah, baby races. That
The musical
there's a lot of money
chairs.
to be made. It's a big industry.
Oh, yeah.
Let it be known that I have taken $10 off of Cade on those toddler races in McCamish.
I beat him on the musical chairs one. That was a good day.
That was not. I've lost.
Kid's
no.
been taking a lot of L's, huh?
I haven't picked a good kid yet. If your kid's in one of these races, tell me what his name is, and I'll bet on it.
Scouting reports, right?
It's not going well so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, Notre Dame is like I can't really think of another ACC team we've had real success against with Josh Pastner besides Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like Boston College maybe.
And
I don't even know if we beat
We
them
lost to
there.
them last
And we
year in
call that
overtime.
real success going, what, now we're 5-4 against them in 2 years? We've won all the home games, but we have never beaten them in South Bend under Pastner.
Yep.
I'll call it the only not bad ACC team that we've had any amount
But
of success against.
The thing is, Notre Dame traditionally, even while Pastner's been here, has been pretty good. I mean, they've been probably upper half or upper tier of the ACC, and it's just they lost Fluger to it was an ACL tear.
Yeah,
at the beginning
he
of
was
the
supposed to be
season
their
last
star
year.
guard this year.
So losing what the tech student section affectionately refer to him as Squirrel Boy
Yeah.
for the season really hurts them.
That was
and
so
they just
cringy.
haven't, and they've kind of, I mean, if you just look at their record, they've kind of looked like us. They've been pretty inconsistent. Sometimes they're just not getting shots to fall.
Yeah, they
It's
just
sort
take
of
more
like
threes than we do.
looking in a mirror. So I think this game is definitely decided on that student center advantage or student section advantage, the same way it was decided here.
Mm-hmm.
And even here, it was a 2-point game that we almost lost. So
Sounds familiar.
They no longer have Bonzi Colson now at the NBA G League, which
Yep.
is a win.
Bonzi Colson was a
Bonzi
tough
Colson
player.
played there about 6 or 7 years.
the Hunter Renfro of Notre Dame basketball.
Kansas is
Barrett.
guys like that.
Kansas isn't good this year, but that's a topic for a.
That's a topic for an entirely another podcast when we have more time. Right now,
Correct.
we are probably going to get kicked out of here soon. So, but we have one more topic to cover very quickly.
Let's hit baseball.
Boo.
Wow.
All right. We are doing our annual preview series on baseball from the Rumble seat. I think we are in our schedule previews right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess with the time we have left, all three of you want to give me just a short opinion on what you think is going to go on this season at Rush January Stadium. Jake.
Proper positional management would be nice. I think that's my key to success. I wrote the outfield and infield previews last week, and I think our biggest problem last year was sticking liabilities in the outfield because they had one. You're not going to get all 5 tool players in ACC baseball, no matter how good the league is. But like, if you have a offensive liability like our
Center fielder Nick Wilhite.
Yes, like our center fielder Nick Wilhite, who I was going to describe as a web gem specialist. He was a multiple Sports Center top 10 player last year, which is great. Like, we need defensive players like that. But if you're going to hit 155 and slug 155, getting starter at bats, yeah, actually I saw that reaction.
Oh God, no!
It's
I
bad.
just wanted to add at the same time. Kiefer, who's another one of our baseball writers, did a advanced stats report at the end of last season, and Nick Wilhite had a negative WRC plus. I forget what that stands for, but it's you don't
means he
see
took away
Weighted
runs.
you don't see
created,
you
yeah.
don't see anything under what one is it? It's out of 100, right? 100 is the average.
It's weighted, so
I forget how they do that
it's
metric.
normalized at some
But
point.
the guy was bad. Like his run production was abysmal.
He should
whenever
not
he
be
was in
playing
the lineup.
for this team.
You would have been better, like, sticking a cardboard cutout there for every one of his
Cardboard
at-bats.
cutout can bat 225. Run him out there instead of Nick Wilhite.
I mean, and like, obviously we don't think that White shouldn't actually be on the team, but his production was very sorely not there.
He's a good runner and he's a good defender. So if you want to bring him late to steal a couple bases, get an extra base on a run, if you want to stick him out there in center in a close game, dang straight, do
But
it.
do
He's
not put him at
talented
the
with
plate.
that
If
glove.
One of
Do not
our
put him at the
absolute
plate.
units gets a base hit down the bottom of the ninth inning when we're in a tie game. Put Nick Wilhite in and let him steal second base, but that's the only thing he should be doing.
And if
for
it's
this
Baron Radcliffe, that means he can then go to the outfield, So, like,
Yeah.
but hopefully we win the game.
Yeah.
My outfield prediction, or hope, I guess I should say, was Colin Hall, Michael Goldberg, and Chase Murray. Goldberg, who's coming off injury, and seemed like he was heating up. Hall had good minutes, or not good minutes, good productive
he was a
playing
solid
time.
hitter, and he got better as the year went on because he was a freshman last year too.
Yeah, and his brother's not too bad either. His brother
has been suffering from back.
Yeah,
And
his brother's been
only
in and
had,
out.
Like 50 at
And
bats
I
last
think
year.
his brother Carter Hall is my super sub of the team because he can play infield, he can play outfield.
Yes, the Clint Dempsey of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
That's the whistle. If you guys can pick that up, I don't know how good this microphone is, but yeah, no. And then I thought Baron Radcliffe is a tank and he can mash the ball like no other. But in right field, he's not the fastest. So if you want to get him to the plate more, make him the DH. I think he's our best option now that we're not juggling the whole Kel Johnson, Joey Bart, Kyle McCann, first base, catcher, DH. Not that Kel played any catcher, but that whole question mark trying to get Kyle and Joey's bats in the lineup at the same time. And then across the infield, I had English, Serratos, Wilhite, and Waddell with Miller and Zinnershine, the freshman, kind of backing him up. Miller more at the corners, Zinnershine in the middle infield.
Who are the guys that you said we lost to the draft? Because I remember, I
Kendall
wrote...
Simmons
Kendall Logan
should have
Simmons,
been
yeah.
our starting shortstop this year, and Reese Olson would have been another arm in our pin probably.
Yeah, no, Simmons is tough to lose. He was the number 1 ranked shortstop in the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I mean, before you lose both of those guys to the draft, Jackets had a number 24 ranked recruiting class in the nation. So those are tough losses, but I think, you bring in Barnicki and Rodig on the pitching staff,
Mhm.
and
And
those
that's
are
where
really good
that's where we
additions.
needed
Amos
more help,
Miller.
anyways. I think.
Agreed. And one thing that I hit home a lot in my
Honey.
boo.
I said hitting baseball talk.
Oh.
And he said home too.
One thing I really touched on in my pitching preview
Touch
was
him all, Akshay.
Let me speak, Jesus. One thing that I really emphasized was a lack of consistency on the mound. And I think bringing in Barnicki, who was the number 34
Somewhere.
athlete, just like player in the nation, and then he was the number 8 left-hand, something like that, number 8 left-hander in the nation.
Something like that.
That's a really good addition to a pitching staff that when they are on, they are really, really good, especially Connor Thomas and Xavier Curry, when both of them are really, and considering that they're probably going to be the 2 mainstays of the weekend rotation, when they are on it, when they are hot, they kill teams. There have been numerous examples last season. The 2 that I wrote about were against Wake Forest in consecutive games, but you can pick a couple of games from last season where both of them just murdered
Couple
lineups,
weekends, yeah.
good lineups, and I think that's where their potential is. And I think from there you add Bartnicki, Tristan English if you want to put him back in the rotation or you want to give him some
I
spot
like him out
starts,
of the pen.
or that. It's consistency. Across the board for the pitching staff, it's consistency, and that's what they need the most. The schedule, I know both of us have kind of written about this week. The schedule's tough.
If we start 25-4, I'll go streaking around Georgia Tech's campus.
You heard it here first. You can hold him to that.
Wow.
You haven't done that already?
Oof.
But I think you said we'd go 7-2 to
What
end
did you say?
to end February, and I said we'd go 17-3 in March.
What?
That's all. If we go 24-5, I'll go streaking around Georgia Tech's campus.
Akshay, you
I
are
am-
smoking some good stuff over there in Square Outfit.
I like to be pretty high on the Jackets, and the only 2 series that really stood out to me in March, at least, I haven't looked at the rest of the schedule, were Louisville and then Athens. And you can probably chalk up a couple losses there, and then 1 random loss to Miami, Virginia. And
If we only lose 1 game
One
to those 3
random
teams.
What?
Akshay.
Hey,
we
I
haven't
think-
beaten the Bulldogs in baseball since I became a student at Georgia Tech.
I have faith.
I have faith too, but
We also very rarely sweep anyone,
Yes.
let alone 3 teams in the same month.
I have
winning the
blind
series against
faith.
Louisville,
I didn't say we were going to win. I think I said 2 losses to Louisville.
then where's the 3rd loss coming from?
You said 1 to Miami,
A
maybe?
random-
1 to like Miami or Virginia, like your usual
All the
ACC
trash
mid-tier.
teams.
Hey, in my defense, I know not that much about college baseball, and a lot of these predictions are made off of RPI. But I digress.
Good job, Mr. Editor of college baseball.
Editor of Georgia Tech.
Hey, I got nothing. It's what, almost 3 o'clock. We're tired at this point.
I'm a grizzled veteran of having expectations for Georgia Tech baseball teams, and we have the same conversation before every single season. So,
Yep.
We
see.
have nerds now, though. That'll help us, right?
Yeah, we have an analytics department.
I mean, maybe it'll make him stop bunting. That's the only thing that I can think of.
I really hate bunting, like a lot,
Yep.
Do you think the MLB should outlaw bunting just
No.
like they want to make every pitcher face 3 batters minimum?
Well, I wanted them to go to the
That's-
College World Series last year only so that I could see Joey Bard bunt with like a runner on first in my bottom of the 9th.
That hurts me. That hurts.
That's how you win ball games, son.
Is bunting
The
with
unwritten rules are
one
that you
on
never
and
do
2
anything
out?
smart
It's
ever.
scientific baseball, Cade. Scientific.
Bunting
No.
is scientific
All
baseball.
you got to do is get people in scoring position.
Baseball is not a scientific sport. People who do analytics are the devil. That's what I learned from watching Brian Stinker manage the Atlanta Braves.
It's Theo's league. Y'all are just playing in it.
All right. Any final thoughts across the board? Anything? I don't know.
I
Y'all
got-
are already getting on my nerves again.
I say we say previewing April to see if we actually go 24-5.
Hey.
in
Blind faith is the best
March.
kind of faith. Mind right.
Actually,
you dingus.
will you streak if we go 1-0?
Absolutely not.
If we start 1-0, will you streak?
No.
Big fan.
Just
Whatever
RIP playing
UIC.
Bradley. I miss playing Bradley. Good times.
All right, we will see you in another 2 weeks. But for now, from the Student Center skyboxes at Bobby Dodd Stadium, watching football players do more winter is coming workouts.
It looks like there's some serious long snapping going on down there.
Ooh, important position. But we will, like I said, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace out.